Om Namah Shivaya, Shriman. So sometimes I've seen a lot of people around me who look very confused to me in terms of the decisions they take towards their studies, career. So I wanted to understand the perspective from Panchabhuta's side. Is it a lack of fire power in their life? Can you explain?
No, you have beautifully given a clue as to how to reason out. It's called fire power, right? When we please go ahead. When we look at fire power from the perspective of Pancha Mahabhuta. Pancha Mahabhuta means we have Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Apa, and Prithvi. Each of these have specific qualities, guna, and that we see a constant variation in our lives. One are broad variations. Another is even in a day you can see variations, fluctuations in these gunas, right? So when these are fluctuating, you will experience your inner state of experience would be sometimes fiery, sometimes watery, sometimes rigid, earthy, sometimes spaced out, sometimes flowing but without any direction. These are but you can look at them as expressions of the various gunas of the bhuta. This is a very useful understanding. But we look at it as a consolidated entity. And hence we expect ourselves to have one particular personality. But actually it is beneath the scenes view. So when we look at Panchabhuta, it's beneath the scenes view. While if we look at ourselves as a projection, we look at it as one consolidated view. So that's the difference in perspective. So when we look at it beneath the scenes, obviously sometimes we feel fired up. May not be all the time. Especially when we are young and growing up, we are exploring the range of expressions that the Pancha Mahabhutas provide us, which is predominantly impacted by, say, our parental orientation or environment, how they have acted upon our lives. So all these impressions regulate the expression of the bhutas. So that's where sometimes it can be fiery, but sometimes it can be fizzled out. Sometimes it can be airy. Sometimes a lot of ideas are getting generated. Sometimes spaced out, which is not one thing. It takes some period of repeated expressions for us to consolidate into one mode of expression. Okay. Right? So this is what we look at as someone they are charged up, fired up. Someone else is weak. They might not exactly be weak. It is just that some other bhuta might be predominant. So that's why having such a view is important. See, for example, this body is, when we look at it from outside, it is like just one whole. But if we look at it under a microscope, it will be like trillions of cells. If you have that sort of a zoomed in perspective, you are looking at a lot of interactions which does not seem coherent. But from a zoomed out perspective, it seems coherent. So that's how when you live close to someone, you will have a zoomed in perspective, where it will seem like they are constantly fluctuating. Especially when the fluidity of youth is there, because there is so much exploration. If you are explorative in nature, there will be so much fluctuation in your decisions, in how you perceive things, how you want to move forward, changeability of your decisions. All these do not look, do not represent, a state of confusion. Rather, it is more like exploration of the range of Panchabhutas, the expressions that they can offer. This, when it is understood, then you will see that it is quite harsh to judge a person as just, okay, this, and good for nothing. They may not be suitable for that kind of activity which requires that kind of firepower. That is okay. For at that time, it cannot be said forever it will be like that. You can externally influence them, or they can also get inspired and hence internally, express themselves in more holistic terms. So internal pressure, external pressure tend to change the kind of expression that these, denote. So this is very useful to understand. So a zoomed out perspective, that's why sometimes it's helpful. Not just a zoom in perspective, like constantly living close together, we start feeling, oh, this person is like this. Because that we are too close. Sometimes we will need to zoom out, allow them some time. And then we come back, they would have shifted slightly.
So how does someone develop firepower? If they are conscious about the lack of it, what are some of the mechanisms in which they can develop?
So you'd see, so now we come to practical perspectives, where, how I recognize I am like this. How do I add in some element, which gives me that fire?
Yeah.
The easiest way to develop, such inspiration or such, firepower is to actually, associate or relate with someone who has that fire.
So the
For
rub-off
example,
effect will
rub
be
off.
there.
For example, you would have seen, you are a very inspiring person. When I was a child, I'm your brother. So growing up with you used to inspire me a lot because you used to be full of fire. Inspiring. So that used to inspire me a lot. But at that time, have you noticed, I didn't have firepower. I was not typically you. So, but that does not matter. There is the rub-off effect. And that inspiration is so very helpful, over a period of time. That's what, makes a significant difference. So, first thing, the easiest is to associate with someone who has that kind of energy. The next best is to associate with books which have that kind of energy. See, not all books have the same kind of energy.
Correct.
For example, Swami Vivekananda, if you study, you will be filled with fire.
Yeah.
Okay, it will be highly inspirational.
Correct.
It will be transformative. Firepower means, transformative.
Correct.
But there will also be the heat.
Yeah.
No, it's not easy to see. Now it's cool. This is the Pacific region. Here we feel cooled. Totally chill.
Yeah.
But if you sit near Agni, you will be like heated up.
Yeah.
But that's the power of transformation. To ride that transformation, you need a larger vision aspect. Otherwise, the transformation, what do you do with it? So similarly, for example, India now is filled with youth. But youth is firepower. To give them a vision is very important. Then that firepower is used appropriately.
Yeah.
It has a direction. Otherwise, it's firepower. But without any direction, it can become restlessness.
Yeah.
It can feel like, frustration.
Correct.
So that's where combining it with the wisdom of experience and giving it a appropriate expression becomes very, very, powerful and, something that is beneficial to everybody.